Okay, Kamani and Kumari and Leslie, here's a video of what we are learning today in math. So you should have watched the first video where we talked about fractions, what they are. Fraction is an equal part of a whole. Before we start today, I want you to find this sheet in your supplies. It's a fraction sheet. It has all the fractions printed on it. And I want you to get your crayons out and I want you to color it in. And then I want you to get your plastic cover and put it in there and get your dry erase markers and get those ready. And also have your math notebook ready with a pencil or pen, whatever you have, all right? So again, get this out and color it and then put it in here and have your dry erase markers ready and have your math notebook ready. You can pause this video right now and go take care of that. It's been taking kids about 15-20 minutes to get it colored. Go ahead and take the time to do that. And then you could play the video again. You can continue the video and we'll get into the lesson, right? So go ahead and do that. Okay, you should be back and should have it ready. It should be looking colored in. It doesn't have to be colored exactly like this, but it should be colored in. So just let's review, okay? Let's review what a fraction is. Like, let's say, for example, 2/3. Fraction is a equal part of a whole. So let's say we have one whole, like this is one rectangle here, right? And let's say we split it into 3 equal parts. So that's since it's 3 equal parts in the whole, our denominator is 3. Remember, denominator tells the total number of parts in the whole. And then since we're going to choose 2 of them to color in, that's why our numerator is 2. 2 is the numerator. And that's the number of parts we're selecting out of the whole, right? So denominator, total number of parts, 1, 2, 3. Numerator, number of parts selected, in this case 1, 2. So here we have 2/3 out of the whole, right? And then within that fraction, you can see right here, just this part right here, we've got 1/3, right? And then also right here, we have 1/3. So 2/3 can be split into 1/3 and 1/3. And remember, these are called unit fractions, right? And you can always tell a unit fraction because its numerator is just 1. It's just showing one of the parts. That's what a unit fraction does. So that's one way you can decompose a fraction. You can take it and split it into its unit fractions. So for example, in this case, to decompose 2/3, we could say 2/3 equals 1/3 plus 1/3, just like that. So that's what we're looking at today, decomposing fractions. Decomposing means to break it down into smaller parts. And that's one way you can break down a fraction. Just break it down into its unit fractions, all right? So let's practice that today. We're gonna show how we can draw it in the notebook and also how we can show it on our fraction sheet here. If you don't have this, if you lost it or whatever reason, then you're just gonna have to do it in the notebook, all right? So let's start by looking at a fraction. Let's do 4/5, all right? So write that one down, 4/5. And then in your notebook, you could draw 4/5. We split the rectangle into 4 equal parts. And again, this is one whole. That's one whole rectangle. And we put it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. So we're working with fifths. And let's select 4 of them because that's our numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. So right there, we see 4/5, right? I'm going to stretch that out a little bit. So that's 4/5 right there. All right. So now let's show how we can show 4/5 on here on our fraction sheet. We can go to the fifths and just outline 4 of them. Now we got 4/5. All right. Now on the notebook, now we're going to show the different ways that we can decompose 4/5. Okay. And I wish I could fit it all. Now I can. All right. So let's think. First of all, let's look at the unit fractions. When you're working with fifths, the unit is 1/5. So we got 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. You can see we got 1, 2, 3, 4 unit fractions. So we could say that 4/5, we could start by saying 4/5 equals 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. That's the first way. All right. And then you could show that on your sheet, on your fraction sheet, just by simply dividing it into its 4 unit fractions, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, like that. So that's one way to decompose. But what about if we did this? Instead of just using all unit fractions, what if we look at this part here? Lights. Let's get the lights on. So we got 2/5 here, and we've also got 2/5 there. So that shows that 4/5 equals 2/5 plus 2/5. We'll make better 5s. So that's the second way we can decompose it. We can 2/5 here and 2/5 here. So 4/5 equals 2/5 plus 2/5. Well, we can also show that here. We can change our lines. We got 2/5 here, and we've got 2/5 here. And that shows that 2/5 and 2/5 equals 4/5. Okay. So that's another way. That's 2 ways. Let's go for a third way. Let's think of a third way. And I got one. How about we go back to a unit fraction, and then let's put the rest of it all together. We got 1, 2, 3, that's 3/5. So that shows that 1/5 plus 3/5 equals 4/5. So 4/5 equals 1/5 plus 3/5. And then we can show that on here. Fix the lines. So back to 1/5, that's 1/5 there. And then we've got this amount here. This is 3/5. So we got 1/5 and 3/5 equals 4/5. All right, so we can show it here on the chart, on the sheet, or we can show it here in a notebook page. Okay, let's try one more, and then I'm going to show you an assignment to do. Okay. So let's do a different fraction. Let's do, how about 5/6? All right, 5/6. So if we have our rectangle, well, if this is one whole rectangle, right? Let's get the 5/6 out of the way. That's one whole rectangle. Let's split it into 6 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on here, we want to show 5/6 like this. That's 5/6 also. And now we want to color it in, of course. Let's go green. Green fraction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/6. And now let's see how we can decompose it. Well, again, start with unit fractions. We got 1/6 there, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. On here, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. So we can say that 5/6 equals 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. That's the unit fractions way to decompose. Let's think of another way to decompose it. What if we put two of these unit fractions together? That would be 2/6, right? And then we put the rest together. That would be 3/6. So let's show that on here. So we would take that line out. This is 2/6 right there. And then take out these lines. And you see that we've got 3/6 right there. 2/6 and 3/6. So that shows that 5/6 equals 2/6 plus 3/6, right? And all these we want to show it three ways. Let's think of one more way we could do it. Well, how about if we go back to a unit fraction, just one unit fraction. So just 1/6 right here, and then put the rest of it all into one fraction. That would be 4/6, right? 1/6 and 4/6. So on here, that would look like this. Let's erase. Let's get that line back there. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4/6. And here we've got 1/6, right? So that shows that 5/6 equals 1/6 plus 4/6. So there are three ways to decompose 5/6. All unit fractions, 2/6 plus 3/6, and 1/6 plus 4/6, right? So let me show you the assignment I want you to do in Seesaw. So here, let me get out of this. Made a mess of that. Okay. So decomposing fractions. And look at all these directions. There are a lot of directions. Draw a picture of each fraction or show it on your fraction sheet. Decompose the fraction 3 different ways, including the unit fractions. Show each decomposition with a number sentence. That is a lot of directions. So you just reading them is not going to help you much. So you need to I need to show you what I want you to do. So let me go into my response. I am the sample student. So this is my answer. Okay. So 3/4. All right. So now what they want you to do is either, show it. So like show 3/4. Show 3/4 on your sheet, take a picture of it and load it up in there, okay? Or just draw it here. So that might take you some time. So we've got our rectangle and we're going to split the rectangle into 4 equal parts, right? Because we're working with fourths. And then we're going to color in 3/4. So again, either show the picture. Okay, that's really sloppy by me. So either take a picture of this and put it in here or draw it like that. And then you'll notice back in the directions, it says to decompose it 3 different ways. And one of those ways needs to include unit fractions. So the first one I'm going to do is the unit fractions. I'm going to change the color. So like this is 1/4 here. And that's 1/4. And that's 1/4. So I can write down here, or I'm going to type it in a text box. So Make my colors different. So I could say that 3/4 equals 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Right? So that's one way to show it. But let's think, how else can we decompose this? Well, here's 1/4. And here's, how about this? We could take here, let me change this around a little bit. How about we put those two together like that? Now we've got 2/4 there. So now we've got 1/4 and 2/4. So you could type in your box 3/4 equals 1/4 plus 2/4. All right. So that shows two ways that you can decompose 3/4. First, using the unit fractions, and then any other way. Now I know the directions say show 3 different ways. Well, I goofed on this. On 3/4, there's only 2 ways. There's 1/4 plus 2/4, and then the unit fractions. That's the only 2 ways you can do it. All right. So on this first one, well, just don't bother doing it because I just did it here, and plus it's impossible to do it correctly. So you've got 7/10, 5/8, and 8/12. So each one of these, first of all, show the fraction either by taking a picture of this or by drawing it here, whichever you want to do, and then decompose it 3 different ways. But remember, the first one's got to be unit fractions, right? Which is all the numerators are 1, okay? So that's your assignment. And get to work on that. It might take you a little bit of time, but I'll be looking for it. If you don't get it done by the time, I mean, you should have time to get it done. So I'll be looking for it in Seesaw. Hopefully you get that done, and hopefully you understand this lesson well. Again, if you need any clarification, come back and watch the video again. Try sending me an email. I'll check my email if you don't understand, you need extra help, or give me a call, all right? If you need extra help, let me know, okay? So good luck on the assignment.